Hey guys, so the inevitable happened in Virginia today. There was a Republican congressman and a few other people who were shot by this crazy, deranged Bernie supporter who went there specifically to shoot Republicans. He originally went there earlier during the day and he had asked whether there was Democrats or Republicans playing the game. And the guy's like, oh, Republicans. We turned around, walked away, and, we all know what happened next, right? But yeah, this guy was going out and targeting Republicans specifically. And, you wonder why. Like, people are going to be like, oh, it's because, it was just and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, it's because of the left wing media, the rhetoric coming out from the left wing constantly from like HuffPo, Slate, Salon, or when they're not condemning people like Antifa and they're not really saying anything, they're not covering it, they're not really drawing attention to it. So, when they're constantly pushing this narrative, like, when you had Kathy Griffin CNN like cutting off the head of Donald Trump, and then like you have like these plays of Caesar that has a guy that looks a lot like Trump getting like murdered and killed, and you have like people, writers from HuffPo saying like, we should have, don't do it just by yourself. We have to group and to actually have an effect on having a coup on the government or whatever. Like, and then earlier on, like this year or 2016, they're writing an article like, hey, liberals, violence is as good as any means to take on Trump. It's like when you have people spewing this type of rhetoric, it's just a matter of time before some crazy lunatic is going to pick up on it. Like they know what they're doing though. When they're constantly pushing this stuff out, they know there's a lot of crazy people out there. They know this, and they know they're going to act on it. Like there's that guy who jumped the podium and went to attack Trump. Like that guy was later interviewed by CNN. Was more or less like held up as like a hero or something, right? So if this guy had survived this attack, he would probably be interviewed by CNN, which is, the funny thing, right? And they'd be like, oh, well, you, it was probably justified, blah, blah, blah. And another thing, it's like they always don't seem to know the motives of these people. And they're like, oh, no, it wasn't. Is it political? Is it this? It's like, whenever they're thinking about what the motive is for a really long time and they don't know it right away, immediately that it's either something on the left or it's a Muslim, right? Because they could say Allah Akbar, I want to kill all the kuffars, I'm doing this in the name of Allah, and they'd be like, what could be the reason for this? And then somebody on the left would be like, oh, Trump's a piece of shit, he's a Russian puppet, and he's gonna kill millions of people because he's taking away our health care, and he's gonna kill millions and millions upon more people because he's pulling out of the Paris Agreement that's gonna do absolutely nothing. That's gonna, that Paris Agreement is gonna do nothing, but they're portraying it like millions of people are gonna die. Same with the healthcare thing, where it's like millions of people are not gonna die. Stop lying to people. You know what you're doing. You're trying to do this, and a lot of people were probably just hoping the first strike like this would have been on Donald Trump, because now that it happened to just Republican dude, he was actually like apparently fourth in line to be president, but because it happened to him, they're gonna have to kind of tone down, be a little more subtle about this, and all this Kathy Griffin stuff and whatever. But it's gonna continue. Like they want Trump out of office. Like this is any means necessary, either through impeachment, through his own, like through like himself doing it somehow, death. You'd be surprised how many people don't mind. Like there's leftists are some of the worst people. Like they always talk about how conservatives are always like, oh, you're blaming the Muslims, and we're just pretty much drawing connections. Like, oh, they're doing this because of Islam. Oh, you're a bigot, bigot, bigot. But as soon as like a Republican or whatever, somebody they don't like dies, they're like, yeah, good, he deserved it. And they're not even like murderers, they're not even killers. They're like regular people who disagree with them. It's like I can understand if everybody's like, yeah, Osama died, Osama bin Laden, yay, this guy murdered all these people, but when it's just like somebody who's on a political spectrum opposite to you, it's like, and they've done virtually, nothing that bad. It's like, what the fuck, you're crazy. you know and you have like people like Tariq Nasheed saying, oh, this is white supremacy in action. It's like, what? Okay, first of all, this guy's a Republican who you've probably smeared as a white supremacist in the past, and he's apparently, like 15 years ago, had meetings or whatever, like David Duke. And so it's like, if he's a portrayed white supremacist, and he probably wasn't having like a white supremacist meeting, that was probably blown out of proportion too, but it makes no sense for white supremacists to go and kill another one, right? Like, you're just spitting stuff out. Like, stop it, stop, intervening, right? And then there's this gun narrative that's always gets pulled whenever, even when there's a knife attack, right? Like, they're like, oh, we gotta stop guns and this and that. Like, all these people got stabbed. It's like, what? But yeah, immediately they're like, oh, we need to stop guns and take them off and do more background checks and this and that. It's like, this guy probably would have passed on the background checks. But if anything, you shouldn't make it harder for average citizens to have guns, because first of all, a lot of these liberals are lying about the gun laws in Virginia. Like, this is like a liberal fucking state, a lot of places, and like they have strict gun laws, right? They have strict gun laws, so they're calling for even stricter ones. It's like, that, if anything, allowing the congressman to arm himself and allowing citizens around by that would stop a lot of these mass shootings. Like, luckily this guy was a terrible fucking shot, right? Luckily he was a terrible shot, and this guy had secret police around him. But when it's like a terrorist attack, people don't have those police surrounding them, right? They don't have the Capitol Police surrounding them, protect them, right? So they need like some type of protection. Don't just give it to congressmen, and because other people are being targeted too. Go to an Antifa rally. Watch out for bike locks that are going to be hit on your head by professors that teach in apparently like prestigious schools, right? So when you're getting these dog whistles, these messages from the media, from your teachers, essentially, like they're leading by example. How many of those students saw that Eric Clanton guy hit some guy over the head and was like, oh yeah, he's a rebel, he's taking one, like, what kind of example are you setting for people? And everybody's decrying people on the right and horrible people. It's like, come on, look at yourselves, right? Look at yourselves first. You're the ones causing a lot of this shit. You're the ones who are creating all of this violence. Whenever somebody on the right does something, it's the biggest thing. Where like one girl gets her hijab pulled off her head, and everybody's like, oh my god, the era of Trump, somebody spray painted like a thing. And most of these are hoaxes. How many of these are fucking hoaxes? The majority of these are fucking hoaxes. And then when something real happens, it's like, it's the complete opposite reaction. And it's not by accident, right? These people know what they're doing. They're not stupid, right? That's what you got to remember. These people are not stupid. They know what they're doing, right? There's a lot of useful idiots. So you can't assume everybody's like, but there's a lot of useful idiots, that are, this is right. We're fighting the politics and the policy and the government with arms and stuff, right? And it's like, see, they're just doing what Republicans want. They're fighting the government, tyrannical government. But it's like, he's not a Trump is not a tyrannical fucking leader. So, pump the brakes with this fucking crazy nonsense talk, and hopefully, the media continues to lose more and more support, because they're dangerous. They are very dangerous. And if you only watch them, and if you have a few screws loose, I would recommend you stop immediately. But if you like my content, subscribe, and have a great day. See you later.